All right, here we go. So this is my segment, and this is what I wanted to introduce actually in an age of a new oxygen, the internet, that has captured the attention of our children in a way that has never been experienced in the history of mankind. And I speak from experience, seeing my children very attached to their devices. And as I was speaking to Liz earlier, I really took that contract to be a very serious thing and very, very beneficial, because my children now, they know the limits and boundaries. Not only that, but when they finish that time, they have something else productive to do. They have reading to do. They have family time to do. We have games. We have actually invented our own games. You know, we write silly, stupid questions on sticky notes, and we present as we mix them up, and then we start picking those questions, and then we present a topic based on that stupid or silly question, like why monkeys, for example, why monkey love. How can you convince a monkey that mango is better than banana? And then you just speak, just have fun, laugh, and you will see that everyone is enjoying the game, because device time is over for kids. So I have really experienced the benefit. But also, if I called my son to bring me water, for example, or something, parents are sometimes lazy, so they will use their children to serve them. So if I ask my son during his device time to bring me water, it will take him some time to get me that water. And he will be looking at his laptop as he's playing his game. And he would never pay attention to my call for sometimes for 30 seconds, sometimes for 1 minute. Sometimes he will forget. My son in particular, sometimes he will walk to the refrigerator, to the fridge, and he will open it, and then he will pause for a while, and then he will come back to me and he said, "What did you ask me to bring?" He will even forget, because his attention is all on that, what I call new oxygen, the internet. So we are living in that time, and we have to appreciate that we have reached to that part of the world that no one had experienced, because there has been an opportunity given to you as a parent to deal with it. There's been an opportunity given to you to fix whatever is being done as a result of the impact of this powerful tool called the internet. So I want to talk to you about how to walk through this challenge, and what worked for me as a parent in educating my children around the online world. And I hope I can finish in the remaining time before the break. One of the things that I found to be very powerful to teach our children is actually delayed gratification. Our children wanted to get what they wanted right now with no delay. And of course, thanks to the commercial-based ads and pop-ups that they try to attract you and try to tell you that, hey, if you don't have these things, you're not good enough. If you don't go so slim, or if you can't lighten your skin, or this and that, you are not good enough. You cannot fit within what they try to push down our throats as good, as something, cool, and so on and so forth. So delayed gratification, if you can start teaching your children at a very young age, or even if they've reached to a teenager age, and you didn't reach out to them before, start now. Start the conversation. I started with my son at a very, very young age, but when I started with him, my daughter was a bit older, and things were a bit difficult to deal with. But we reached to a point. Now she's 17. We have reached to an agreement, and things are working absolutely perfect. I teach my children that making money requires time and effort. You cannot just, say, I want money, and money will be found. So this is one of the things that you can start the conversation around. You don't have to jump into porn right away. Some people are uncomfortable, like how Liz and Holly mentioned. It's difficult to swallow the conversation around pornography. It's very difficult. And I found it difficult myself to see people consider talking about pornography addiction to their children and to warn them. I found that to be hard to swallow, because the porn industry itself, and irresponsible media like Game of Thrones and 50 Shades of Stupid and whatnot, all these things are normalized already. And if these imagery are very, very normalized, like sometimes we watch what is called innocent movie, Hollywood movie, and we're sitting family time and we're eating popcorn and enjoying it. And all of a sudden you find a naked girl in that what is supposed to be a normal, innocent movie that has got nothing to do with porn. They will have to insert those scenes to make money, to sell, to bring people in. And that is very, very dangerous, and we need to be ready for that. So if porn and nudity and all these things are normalized already, why can't we normalize the conversation around this part of education? I found it to be really foolish for people to find it very hard to discuss this issue. So porn is super prevalent. Nudity is pushed down our throat. All these things, exploitation of girls are normalized. Look at the billboards. I was walking with my wife. I said this to my audience so many times. I was walking with my wife years ago in Hong Kong City, and it's a glamorous city. Like we call it the city of light. Wherever you go, there is, brightness. And it was rainy night, and we were walking romantic, and all of a sudden we found those big, massive billboard with a lady trying to advertise a purse, and she was half naked. Do you think men or young people will care about the purse? Like we have to understand that. So teach your children about delayed gratification. Even teach them that achievements required effort. And not everything you need to wait for, or not everything that you can't have now, you will never have later. It's just a matter of waiting, teaching them to be patient. That's actually the definition of waiting. Patience is to wait a little bit longer than usual until you get what you want. There is no problem to have sex, but within the proper boundaries and limits, which will happen later on. So talking about these things will prepare them for not to fall prey into these websites and to these glamorous products. Even relationships require some waiting. Even people in the Muslim community, they reach me and they wanted to get married, for example, and they say, like, what are the signs of a good husband or a good wife? I'll tell them that this is the religion, what it says, that you have to look and investigate for someone with good manners, for someone who is, care about the policies and that. And so it required time and effort to get into a proper relationship. You cannot have it all of a sudden. So remind your kids of these things that you need to wait for. Even, I remember the one parent told me that we have this pizza jar. So they have a pizza jar. If you want to eat pizza, chip in from your allowance those small change. Just drop a coin wherever you feel like you want to eat pizza. But you're not going to get it now until we have completed the money, the amount for calling the pizza guy to deliver a pizza. Can you imagine? This is the money is there. The parents have money. It's not about being stingy or miserly. It's not about that. It's about training the kids that not everything you want now you will get, and this is how life runs. Right? You need to go through a process. Pornography provides you that instant gratification, which does not last. I always collect, surveys from my clients. They come, they join those programs of recovery, and I ask them those questions. They say the hardest part is actually reaching to a climax. Can you imagine? They sit on their computers for hours. They are afraid of that climax orgasm to happen. Do you know why? Because I thought earlier that people go to these websites to reach to this pleasurable expectation. But it turns out that, when they reach to the level of addiction, they're afraid of that because orgasm hits them with reality, with guilt. And that shame in their heart makes, it's longer than those few seconds of pleasure. So teach your children that instant food will not make you full. It will make you full, instantly, but in an hour you'll feel a little bit hungry. So teach them that things you need to wait sometimes in order to achieve ultimate happiness. That pizza jar example really brought a lot of happiness to my heart, because I remember my father during our feasts in Egypt, he would walk us through those malls and shopping centers, buying us new clothes and stuff. And then we will see toys that we haven't had before, and we will beg our father to buy them for us. And he would say, no problem. after that festival, I'm gonna buy for you after that festival. So the money is there, the intention is there, but not now. And we will cry and we will go home sad. But after the festival, my father will never break his promise. He will bring those toys to us. And the happiness that we will have after waiting those 3 days is just, you cannot describe it. You cannot describe it. So we have to teach our children, take those pizza jar examples and be creative. Be creative. Another thing also to replace those boredom is to encourage your children to read. And this is something, if I could move the computer a little bit to show you the massive, library behind me. This is my office. And I told my children that no matter what happened, if I died or anything like that, never give away these books. These books are for you. Make them like, the wealth that I'm going to leave behind, and give it to your children, and advise your children to give to you. I encourage reading a lot. My son, during this last holiday, he had an assignment to read a biography and then answer questions about it. My son didn't have any problem to go through these assignments. Every other child was challenged, and the majority I heard of his year group could not actually fulfill or could not finish that assignment. My son immediately went here and say, I want to pick a biography. And as a result, because I always talk about Malcolm X, he picked Malcolm X biography, he went through it, and he finished his assignments during the time. So encourage them to read. Make them love to read. Even if it's comics, let them read comics. But be careful, because there are some anime and other filthy stuff, also the porn industry trying to push to hook our children. So be careful, be selective as to what your children should read as well. So take them to bookstores, take them to libraries, encourage them to read, because reading will be a replacement for the internet. If there is no Wi-Fi, no problem. That's my motto with my children. If there's no Wi-Fi to go on the internet, no problem. And sometimes I want to tell you something, don't tell my children, all right? Sometimes I love watching the Premier League, and I'm a big fan of Liverpool, and I come all the time. Sometimes I wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. to watch those matches. And sometimes when the internet goes off, the provider has a problem and there's no internet, I get a lot of frustration. I become very angry. But sometimes I remember telling my children, if no Wi-Fi, no problem. So sometimes I swallow my pain, I swallow that annoyance, and just go back and sleep. And then I watch the news later on. So the point is, teach your children the internet and all these devices are not, if they're not found, if they're not available, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, reading anime and manga is addiction, absolutely. And some experts, actually, I read some articles that some experts said that if you become accustomed to reading pornographic novels and stories of that sort, it is sometimes more dangerous than the visual addiction of pornography, because when you read, you start imagining your own self doing all these acts, and then the addiction turned into something else. So there is some opinions around this, but the point is, be selective, even when it comes to reading. One of the things also that perhaps Liz mentioned something like you be on their heads and all that. I disagree a little bit, my dear friend. I do not prefer now, also by experience, to helicopter our children. We should be a guide on the side instead of being on their shoulder every 1 hour. Since we have already set the boundaries and we teach them, allow a room for mistakes as well, because those mistakes will be the opportunities for us as parents to sit and discuss. I did not have that time with my own parents. My parents have got no clue what pornography is. They didn't know, or God alone knows what was the issue back then for them. But they didn't talk to us about pornography. They didn't warn us about internet, because internet was barely used during those times, and they didn't know that pornography exists on the internet when we brought computers in our homes in the 90s. They didn't know that. They thought that we were just having emails, playing those games. What's it called? the billiard and the cards and whatnot. That was internet and computers for us at that time. But the point is, allow mistakes to happen, because from those mistakes there will come the opportunities for us to educate them. And last point I wanna highlight before we break is that allow them to have that safe space, safe conversation around pornography. I talk to my children about porn almost every day, and I teach them. And of course, I use the appropriate language when it comes to, like, I don't repeat porn again and again all the time. There is no point. They already know what it is. So I try to use different language because it acts on the brain differently as well. So when you say inappropriate imagery, they know what it is, but the brain will not spark with, hormones as it is, subhanallah, as it is when porn is mentioned or pornography is mentioned. So I will stop just there, and I hope that there are some questions I didn't. Great to see you, brother Wael. Thank you, guys. Some people were asking about my health. I'm doing better. Those who didn't know, I suffered from a severe slip disc in the past 3 months, I think in April, and it really affected my walking ability. I can walk now, I assure you, just like a granny style, which is fun and cool, and we make fun about it. I'm now on heavy medication as well to manage the pain. But when I talk about pornography addiction, I feel like I'm super energetic. I feel like it is the best antibiotic, the best painkiller for me. So don't worry, guys, I'm super good. Any question, or otherwise I will end the first session, and I will leave the recording on. So I will not exit. We will keep the recording on throughout the day. If you guys wanted to interact with each other, if you wanted to chat in the box about your insights, about your what do you think, please, by all means, you can remain there. Teenagers select books by themselves. How to make, as I mentioned, there is no such thing as collecting or selecting people books or media by themselves. You have to be involved. You have to give them that advice. You have to tell them also why this kind of book is not suitable. Convince them, and then walk on. Back in the days, my father would just stare at me like that, and that was sufficient for me to understand why I should not do whatever was there. Like, I will understand his eyesight. Now, if you looked at your child, they will tell you what, talk to me. So now they need to be convinced. You need to make sense and all that. Once it made sense to them, they will definitely follow. I was playing Uno with my children the other day. During dawn, sometimes, in the weekend, we sit on the bed and then we play that Uno card. And then while playing, I actually asked my children, what do you guys think about that device time policy that we have imposed upon you? And I was so happy that my daughter, the eldest, she's a teenager, she said that it's actually kind of cool and kind of good and really beneficial. And I said, really? Is it? Don't you think that we are, tightening it a little bit on you guys? I said, no, it gives us room to do something else. It gives us a space to be creative, because my daughter loved painting. And I remember back in the days before those policies, she would never paint and use and utilize and enhance her skills and enhance her talent. She would just be on the device. When we minimize the damage by limiting the time, then she became more productive, and she would go on her painting canvas and do and enjoy her talent. So this is something that we have to be always careful of. Advise them, don't be harsh on them, just conversation. That's the age of education and conversation. What else we have here? كيف يمكن بداية الحوار مع الأطفال عن هذا الأمر? So there is a question in Arabic. I think we have answered that. I'm not sure, Ahmed, if you have understood the answers since you have asked in Arabic. So he's asking about how to start the conversation with children around this subject. So I think Liz have covered that. Holly have covered part of it as well. And I believe I have spoken a little bit about it. It's just about sitting with them and making them feel very comfortable around discussing taboo issues, that there is no such thing as taboo when it's super prevalent like porn, and then get it from there. In the beginning, they will be uncomfortable, they feel shy and so on. As you progress with the discussion itself will become normal. And that's what we wanted to achieve, to normalize the education, the conversation about the harms of porn. And as a result, they will find no one but you to reach out when things go wrong. Right, I think I'm reaching to the end of my segment, and it's 12:29 p.m. at the moment. Remember, I will leave later my contact details, and also will introduce, as I mentioned, the critical alignment model recovery program that had been proven very, very successful in the past 1.5 years with the Aware Academy. We will share the link to that. I will also talk about my latest book later on. But for now, I'll leave you to eat lunch, pray, or anything else you wanted to do. We have 1 hour. Please come back on time. Inform other parents around to jump on Zoom or find us on Aware Academy Facebook page. I'm not logging off from Zoom. Perhaps from the Facebook, we will stop the live for now, and we'll come back. When we come back, we'll go live again on the Aware Academy page. Thank you, guys. Stay safe. I hope you are having a fabulous time. We'll see you after the break. Stay safe and stay aware.